Standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Good afternoon, welcome. Thank you for joining us here on this fantastic Friday. If you have a chance to share with you about Cayman, you want to know more, well, stay tuned. Kevin Reed will share with us. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. And, for the next half hour or so, an opportunity to speak with Mr. Kevin Reed. Mr. Reed, is always a pleasure. And as you share with us about Cayman and the things that are happening, especially when the youth take center stage, lead, guide, direct, and hopefully instruct, well, we'll see what happens. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Dwayne, for inviting us here. We really appreciate the invitation. I would really like to talk about exactly what, Cayman is. And for all of those who are listening out there in Radio Land, please know that the youth are doing something powerful. I mean, the youth of Cayman, we sometimes get a bad rap for wasting away. But really and truly, there are better means to use our power, our intellect, our youth. And Cayman is essentially exactly that. We're using our talents, our availability, our energy to praise God. This coming Friday night, we're actually going to be starting Jam at the Savannah Seventh-day Adventist Church. That's right beside Savannah Primary School down in Bordentown. We begin with Samantha Grady. Samantha Grady is one of the Parkland school shooting survivors in Florida, and many of you out there will have heard of the Parkland school shooting, which was a very big topic in February and the months coming since. Unfortunately, it's become quite political, but if you break it down to what essentially what it is, it's a cry for help from young people. That's what the Parkland school shooting essentially at its core was. That was the message, a cry from young people. And it's looking at Samantha Grady's story, and I'll just go into a bit of it here. She spoke with us earlier, and she mentioned that in the school shooting, her best friend died, essentially saving her. And it's a moving testimony that she's going to be going through on this tonight, actually, at 7 p.m. We start at Savannah Seventh-day Adventist Church. She's going to be going into the story as it evolved through the Parkland school shooting, the times that led up to it and what came after it, and how that moment transformed her life. For many of us young people, we have a sense of immortality, mainly because our life is essentially just beginning. A lot of us are going off to school or coming back from school, just beginning our jobs, just getting a bit of job experience, and we have our whole life ahead of us. Yet still, it is important to have purpose now. For many of our young people out there, I want to say very specifically that God has a calling for you individually. I try to stay away from the generalistic messages to our young people because God has something powerful for the individual young person in the Cayman Islands. And it's really not. It's not for to say that our young people are wasting away altogether. It's that I believe that there is direction that our young people could be gaining. If you see the news in the last 2 to 3 years, Dwayne, we've seen an unfortunate series of events of our young people in the negative side of the news. Drug-related robberies and violent crimes. It's an unfortunate trend that's building. And Dwayne, we're honestly concerned.
But it's international, as you shared.
Yeah.
We've seen it here locally, but it's international.
Yeah.
It's a global, situation is unfolding.
Right.
Now, as you share with us, JAM. What is that?
JAM. Now, JAM is an acronym. That's JAAM. And we have the series called JAM Cayman, which is running for 2 weeks, as I mentioned before, at Savannah Seventh-day Adventist Church. That acronym, JAAM, stands for Jesus as a Millennial. And what we're really trying to do is to showcase Jesus in the most powerful way to what he's really getting to, which is being personal with him. It makes no difference for us to preach from the pulpit and not live the life that Jesus is calling us to do, to live. In fact, in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 1, I believe it is, Paul said that, I could speak all the languages of earth and the languages of angels, but I would be nothing more than a banging gong. Essentially, I would be an inanimate object. I would be meaningless. What Jesus really wants us to get to is a point where we really mean to get close to him. We're desirous. We want to connect. What's unfortunately happened, and this has been shown statistically across the world, and not just in the Cayman Islands, but there was a study done by the Barron Institute, if I remember that correctly, the Barron Institute for Religious Studies, and they were scanning through some of the opinions of our younger generation in terms of Christianity and the religion on a whole. And what they found was a bit unfortunate, but not unforeseen. Some of the statistics were that 87% of our young people believe that the church is judgmental.
Even hypocritical?
Hypocritical was another one. I think that was 85% of our young people believe that the church is hypocritical, and I think it was about 91% that believed the church was anti-homosexual. Now, the way that the question was worded was not just anti that lifestyle, but anti-homosexual persons. That's a rough statement because you're talking about hating people.
Because the scripture says, I hate the sin, but I love the sinner.
Right. And this is not the message that Christ came to give. We're not called to hate, we're called to love.
Yeah, but 1 Corinthians 13 taught, speaking the tongues, but if I do not have love, I think it was in there, right?
Right, yes, because
that's the part.
Right. It's the love itself that means something. And if you see my shirt here doing Project Love, and that's what we're really aiming for. We're aiming to show what love really means in the context of church. In fact, this youth series is essentially a youth church. We're employing a whole different concept. Everything about the program is different than regular churches is run, but we're doing it from a youth perspective.
But something that maybe we could take the opportunity, obviously, to extend the invitation, remind others to come out. But in the context, whether it's global, but as you talk about the individual, let's look at it locally. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of division and dissension within our society. Where can we build unity and find commonality? I believe we're more alike than we care to acknowledge.
Yes.
But in this community, where we talk about the 1,000 different nationalities, every day I hear a different number, and everybody is doing something independently, but nobody's doing anything together. Right. Maybe when we come back from the break, if you will, share with me.
Definitely.
Jesus as a millennial, right? Not just the acronym, but if Jesus was born today as opposed to 2,000 years ago, he has, all the social media stuff, and he got all the things going on. Wonder what that would be like for him. I mean, would his parents have implanted a little GPS chip in him? Right. You're going to run off now, for boy. You're gone for a couple of days and up in the temple. What would his speak be like? And hopefully, he's not looking at me saying, "You get it, I find you and slap you." But would he be going, "Yo, boy, what you doing, man?"
Right.
What would it be like, right? And how is it portrayed? Maybe, Kevin, we can talk to you about that.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
If you're listening, you want a fellow who is smart, call Kevin. He can find someone for us. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
The Advance Automotive Chevrolet 30-day countdown is on. For the month of July, save big with once-in-a-year pricing on all remaining 2018 Chevrolet models. Advance Automotive is making room for 2019 models with unbeatable pricing on remaining 2018 models. We are in the last 25 days. Come and see the 2018 Trax Compact SUV, the most equipped vehicle in its class, and available with $500 cash back. 30-day countdown from Advance Automotive. Visit the showroom on Owen Roberts Drive or visit AdvanceChevrolet.com today.
Give me freedom, give me fire.
Cave Bar and Lounge in Northside. Your home for all the World Cup action. Open daily from 10 a.m. with $70 bucket specials during all World Cup games and daily happy hour specials. Feel the passion, feel the fire, free the mind, and enjoy the game at the Cave Bar and Lounge, located on Frankstown Road in the Old Nico Norte.
When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. So wave your flag.
Cave Bar and Lounge.
Accidents can happen at any time and can leave a strain on you and your family. Be prepared with Workman's Compensation Insurance from Fidelity Insurance. Our brokers can help you meet your government requirements and ensure that you are covered should an accident happen. Don't leave it to chance. Email Fidelity Insurance at insure@fidelitykman.com for a free quote. Get Workman's Compensation from Fidelity Insurance and get some peace of mind. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks to Kevin Reed for joining us. And I might share, man, on a Friday, if you can't laugh amongst friends and family, but when can you laugh?
Yes.
The Cayman Islands Conference, the Seventh Adventist Church and the Youth Ministry Department has a presentation for us starting tonight, right?
Right.
Going for the next 2 weeks.
For the next 2 weeks.
All at the Savannah United Church. The
Savannah
Seventh
Adventist Church, right. Starting at 7 p.m.
Yeah, right next to the Savannah Primary. So, 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock sharp.
All right.
Yeah, we're very, very, very particular about making sure that we respect the time of those persons that are coming there. We'll be starting right at 7.
All right. So Jesus as a millennial. Now, like I said, boy, I can take counsel from my pastor and others who say, boy, be careful. But have you ever thought about that? Parents today say, oh, children have so much, this and that. and if you happen to be blessed to have your grandparents around who can tell you about how your parents behave,
right?
And then you realize,
it's quite cyclical.
Yeah, but today, what would Jesus be like in terms of his language and interaction, the things he would face?
Right. What I find interesting, Dwayne, the more I read the scripture, scriptures, that is, I find that there were many instances where Jesus made a particular effort to identify young persons. In fact, I thought about it the other day, and I wondered, why was it that he didn't spend a lot of time counseling the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and he didn't spend a lot of time with them. In fact, what seemed to have happened a lot of the time is in Jesus' ministry, because of the success, those who created a system that Jesus wasn't conforming with would then follow behind him to find faults. And here's the thing, Dwayne. When I look at our younger generation, we have this thing, this X factor, this element, this predisposition to distrust pre-existing systems, authority even. We have, I dare say, a rebellious streak in us to question rather than just to accept. And in fact, that's what's happening a lot of times now within the church, and not just in the Cayman Islands, but across the world. Going back to that study that I mentioned before, the Barron Institute, they were looking at some of the underlying reasons why the younger generations are disassociating themselves with organized religion. And they found that they have seen a lot of hypocrisy within the church themselves. So they will be going to church, they see their parents acting one way in church, and once church is over, it's a whole different story.
But their parents, their pastors, just the wider community, even their teachers to an extent. There's a behavior in church, and then there's a behavior after. And
it's a innate attribute to, I think, all persons, but particularly young people. Matthew chapter 7, verse 20, I believe it says that in Matthew chapter 7, verse 20, it talks about the fruits, knowing someone by their fruits. By your fruits ye shall know them. There are many different translations. But essentially what it is, we're looking at what we see people doing. We say actions speak louder than words. This is something we know without anyone showing us. It is self-evident. We're looking for authenticity. And no matter where we go, whether it's the club, whether it's to the Badabanu, or if it's the church, wherever we find ourselves, we're in a desperate search for authenticity. We want something real. And this is what we're trying to present in Jam Cayman. We want to show the realness of God, the realness of what this thing is called Christianity, not what it's been portrayed to you in times past. Because even from back then in Jesus' day, the idea of what the religion was presented in a false manner. In fact, Jesus had to call out the Pharisees on many occasions because they were essentially adding burden to the law, something that Jesus didn't prescribe. They're saying that you must do these things. And Jesus said, no, that's not what I came to do. This is not the spirit of the law.
I heard a pastor once say that maybe we should have called them the falsies. In a sense, right? In response to a child's question, and as you talk about his approach, almost his love and immediate attention, he said, "Suffer little children unto me." Yeah. Now we seem to look at the youth. My daughter likes the scripture to talk about. Don't let them despise you because of your youth.
Right,
but yet we do. We don't give the youth their due. We don't.
Right.
We chastise them if they speak out. We tell them you're not old enough for this, even though they may be.
Right.
But yet we allow them to move sometimes without structure, without discipline, without nurturing, without so on. So as you have this next 2 weeks, then maybe it'll speak to them and show them that this is what it would be like.
Yeah, and Dwayne, I just kind of want to go into it a bit. For Jam Cayman, we have so many things planned to address the youth in a holistic level. We start out Friday night, of course, with Samantha Grady's testimony at 7 p.m. at Savannah SDA Church. But throughout the 2-week series, we have different things such as on Wednesdays, we have Capture Your Career segments where we'll be bringing in professionals. A lot of our young people are interested in learning more about different professions. They're trying to find their way. So some persons already know what they want to do, but they don't know enough of what exactly to pursue to get to that point. So some persons might be interested in such things as graphic design or medicine or teaching. We're trying to bring these professionals in so that they can present on those subjects. So and even give their contact details to answer questions on that particular career. So to guide them, because I know when I was a bit younger, before I went to school, I wanted to know certain things. You know, I wish, Dwayne, somebody would have just pulled me aside and say, "Bro, listen, this is what you need to do." Mm-hmm. Like all of that nonsense you saw in the book. Okay, this is what you need to know. You know, that type of guidance. And beyond just the career segment, we also have different ways of looking into the scripture. We have this segment called Word Up, which is about the scripture, but it's more than just reading the scripture, but making it personally applicable. On Mondays, we address the genders. The first Monday is focusing on the young ladies, and the second Monday is focusing on the young men. That first Monday, the theme of the night is, who runs the world? Girls. But it's on that focus of empowering women. And on Monday, it's the theme is, bro, what time is it? Really to get the young men engaged. And there's so much in this youth lifestyle series, all to point to how holistic Jesus is, how concerned he is about the little aspects of our life. In fact, the scripture says that even the hairs on your head are numbered. That tells me that Jesus is paying attention to the small details. When I have something very valuable in my life, I'll say that it's my phone. My phone is one of the most valuable things that I have around me on a regular basis. It has it has my Bible, it has my schedules, it has my chats, and everything is on my phone. So on my phone, if there's a new scratch, I notice it. But other things in my life that are not that important, I might not notice as much. And this is essentially what Jesus is telling us. He considers us so valuable that he's paying attention to everything we're doing. He's concerned.
Yeah, thank God for that too, because as you can see, he's been taking my hairs and keeping them. He has them ready
He'll
for
give
me.
them back to you.
Yeah, he's got them numbered in name, and he's calling them home slowly. but you're so right, because that's the relationship. We get caught up in the religion. We become so sanctimonious and holier than a thou. And it is just like the Pharisees and the Sadducees. It's no different today.
Right.
Some was because of our intellect and our particular knowledge. We speak a certain way. There's no longer any humility. We're expected to be addressed a certain way.
And even as you say that, Dwayne, in the Cayman series starting this Friday, tonight really, even the prayer segment we're doing differently. So I know sometimes for any of you out there that have attend church regularly or even seldom, you'll notice sometimes that the prayers are a bit
scripted. No,
they sound scripted. They sound a bit pre-prepared, rehearsed, and
I have to use some words, but I know you polite.
So, you'll have these highfalutin words such as, our Father who sits on the highest throne, and not to say that we shouldn't be respectful of God.
No, not
of
at all.
Of course, not to knock that.
No.
But sometimes it sends the wrong message. So even in this youth lifestyle series, Cayman, the prayers, we have this segment called I Pray, which is to identify the very personal, the very touching, heartfelt, direct prayer to God, where we're praying very personally about our issues, very practically, being honest with God. And that's really what he wants. He
knows the meditations of our mind. He understands what's in our heart.
Right.
And as you were sharing, Kevin, if I made this, you led me to be reminded of this. You remember back in the day, we probably were there in church that day. It was so long ago. Everybody came in with all their money, making all kind of noise, and this little woman came in and she did how much? And ding, just dropped it in.
Right.
Even today, that's the behavior, respectfully, of so many of us.
Unfortunately.
What they say, we pop a show.
Right.
It doesn't, it's not about that. And I think the young people, if you don't allow me, I'll include myself in that group. We need to be reminded that there's a real living, loving God.
Right.
Now, like it or not, he will judge us, and he will find us wanting in many ways. And whether nobody else is around and knows what we said or did or thought,
God knows.
He knows, right?
And that's why we have to be very intentional about what we're doing in our life. And I mentioned at the beginning that we're looking to lead young people to the purpose that God has laid out for them. There's another scripture that says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say, all of you out there, is not to say that if you want to become a lawyer, you got to drop that. If you want to, make a lot of money and be financially secure, you got to drop. It's not saying that. It's saying put God first, seek him. And just like a father gives good gifts or a mother gives good gifts, how much more will our Heavenly Father give good things unto us? He's concerned about our very personal lives.
If I can ask of you, and I really appreciate your time, right? And hopefully we'll get people to come out whether every night, but certainly tonight to hear her testimony of Miss Grady. But in today's context, many, many people here, and even those who, and I hope they're not overly offended, those of us who attend church religiously, will hear these things and still not appreciate that the God of today, as we talk about the scripture, there are those who are going to be offended. Oh, they're talking about that again. But you just said something. Whether you want to be a lawyer and expected to work and make a whole lot of money, some will quickly say, well, it's easier for a camel to get through idle needle than to a rich man to get into heaven. I mean, that's going to snap you up the side of the face quickly. People don't tell us that.
Dwayne, you just remind me of another passage of scripture that says the word is sharper than any two-edged sword. Now, I want you to we're going to take that bit out, right? And we say sharper than any two-edged sword. And I've heard many sermons preached on that itself. Unfortunately, I think we can use it even broader than we've used it in the past. A two-edged sword, if used the wrong way, can cut you. So you swipe forward, you attack, but if you swipe back, you hurt yourself. If you're not using it in the right way, just like the scriptures, you cause more damage than good. And we go back to the same Pharisees. Unfortunately, they were using the truth of God in the wrong way, presenting half-truths when the truth of God was really saying, come unto me, you who are heavy laden. You have problems in your life, come and talk. In fact, even in the Cayman series, we've considered this as well. We have a segment called Power Talk. So although Cayman starts at 7, those who want to talk with a professional, we have professionals on hand the hour before the service. So between 6 and 7 p.m., we have Power Talk. So persons can come and they can talk about the issues, they can get advice, they can have a discussion, because it's not always about telling you what to do and correcting you. No, it's about hearing, listening, understanding, reasoning together.
Come, let us reason. The thing that, as you were sharing that, and perhaps maybe others will meditate, certainly guide us by it. You just said the scripture, those of you who are heavy laden, come unto me and I'll give you rest. We always hear that at funerals, right? And what you said reminds us that the scripture talks about us being informed, and we got to seek it. We got to delve into it ourselves,
right?
Seek instruction and become as we would with whatever text that we're studying for that next exam, whatever instruction manual we're looking at in order to how to do something. We learn the text, the scriptures for ourselves, so that we understand it, apply it. And you may be so stressed. You need to meditate, pray. You need to rest, to rejuvenate.
Yes.
Not when you're in the casket 6 foot under.
Dwayne, as you said that just now, it's very interesting that some people have unfortunately received the message that there is a aspect of church and religion that has a proxy element to it. So some persons believe if they're close enough to the action of what's happening in church, if they attend church long enough,
play church,
then that's good enough. In the New Testament, there are many, in the 4 Gospels, there are many instances where Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John recorded the miracles of Christ. Yet there were many persons who, no matter how many miracles Jesus performed, they found issues with it. They wanted more. And Jesus essentially said, you hypocrites, you want to see signs, but you essentially have no belief in it. You want to use me as a monkey. You want me to do tricks for you. But it's
not a magic show, man.
It's not a magic show, and really Jesus's message was directly involved with the personal connection with Christ. So the signs and miracles were, I dare say it, peripheral to what essentially he was trying to get at. Because if you are not studying the word for yourself, Dwayne, if we are not studying it for ourselves, it matters not how much our pastor studies, how much our wife study, or how much our brothers or sisters. It's all about getting personally and directly connected.
I'll tell you, I don't always follow it, but it's something she said when I was young and handsome, had hair, and I still remember today. So you're going to church for yourself, not for anybody else.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing.
Yeah.
Everyone, I really appreciate you sharing with us. So tonight, for the next 2 weeks, Jesus as a millennial at the Savannah Seventh-day Adventist Church, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock every
all
night, and we have rest nights on Thursday night, but we also have, of course, services on Sabbath as well, Saturday and Sunday night, Monday night, all through with the rest night on Thursday night. So really encouraging all of it's the youth that came in, and it's expanded beyond just youth, for everyone to come out, enjoy, and get connected to God in a very personal level.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much, man. And hopefully we get a chance to chat again.
Definitely. Thank you, Dwayne.
Enjoy your wonderful weekend, and hopefully as people listen to our testimony, and they'll be inspired to recognize that the youth are not just tomorrow. They're today.
Yes, they're today.
Blessings to you, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
All right, we're going to pause and take a break. And when we come back, there'll be more talk today. We invite you to call us 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place for traditional Cayman cuisine. Oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
Enjoy dining by the sea in the relaxed, tranquil atmosphere with local food specials every day and karaoke every Saturday night with Cayman Elvis.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
King Sports Center's Art of Fun Summer Camp is back from July 3rd to August 3rd. Now in its 14th year, the Art of Fun Camp is ideal for kids aged 5 through 10 with activities from football, basketball, dodgeball, squash, rock climbing, arts and craft, dance, singing, and more. Your child can stay cool while having fun in a safe and secure environment. For more info, email kings.brebanks@gmail.com. That's kings.brebanks@gmail.com. Or call 946-KING, like King's Sports Center on Facebook, and you can also find them on Instagram, or call 946-5464. King's Sports Center, providing you with all your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
Preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord. We are united in Jesus Christ. We are the soldiers of the land.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. He's a name in the Lamb's book of life. Roll call, brother, sister. Roll call. If you don't stop shouting, if you don't stop dancing, we gonna put you out of our church.
Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flowed through my lips. Your work moved through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
Talk today.
but I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks again for joining us here in this edition of Talk Today. It's a fantastic Friday afternoon. I hope you were able to listen to Mr. Art Corner this morning as he has joined by Emily Avasuku. We invite you to always be a part of our program in here. And as a quick note, Monday, yes, it's going to be the 9th, but it's going to be the first Monday of this month. As you know, last Monday, the 2nd, we were celebrating our Constitution Day as a public holiday, our monthly mental health matters. Then it's going to be on the first working Monday of our show, which is this Monday. So I want you to be a part of that discussion as we really appreciate the excellent work of Dr. Alexandra Borden in putting together a monthly production. It's going to be a very, very engaging discussion. It's open line now. And again, a special thanks to Kevin Reed for coming in and sharing with us the work over at the Savannah Seventh-day Adventist Church. So their production starts this week, continues on for the next 2 weeks. Jesus has a million years. You ever thought about that? It's an interesting thing. 949-8037, 949-8037, or toll free at 1-800-534-8255, 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, you can WhatsApp 925-3261. I don't always remind you, but Miss Susan, sometimes she say, remember, tell them, go to YouTube. Was it Miss Susan? YouTube, look for a Radio Cayman live stream, and then subscribe. Let's see what it works. And I don't mean to, downplay it or speak against it, but it is the part of the wave of the future. And it's interesting to watch not just the young people who seem to seamlessly, almost instantaneously, and expectantly gravitate towards this thing. You give them a camera, and just like way back when you had young children, you take a camera and they smile and they want a picture. Well, young people these days, go towards that. But equally, so the business people and the politicians and the like, they certainly enjoy, being in that domain. Some of us, not so much. But, hey, so it is. And it is open line, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind? Had a couple of engaging discussions earlier with some individuals who were expressing concerns about the growing divide within our country. And on their behalf, I was hoping that they would have come in and extended the conversation on air, because I think it would be great in helping us to understand that we are more alike than we are different. Certainly we celebrate our differences, which seem to allow people to divide us quite easily. And unfortunately, with that, difference of opinion, difference of view, difference of nationality, difference of ethnicity, even our difference in our economic status at the time, we segregate ourselves, or we allow ourselves to be segregated. The initial discussion was around the issue of, where is Cayman now, or where will Cayman be if the government of the day decides to take one path or another? As they look at this whole issue of beneficial ownership, will the government, in sort of tandem with the other overseas territories, be able to sort of lobby the UK and champion a particular cause and have us, be positioned in such a way that we maintain a sense of autonomy? Will the government feel that it's going to be forced to, become independent? As one fellow shared, will our friends over in the UK, the parliamentarians and, the other, sort of members of the all-party working group, as it were, come to our aid and assistance and help us to be able to maintain a sense of fairness and balance? Now, as one of the individuals shared, will this be a case that if we win on this accord, are we going to be, his words, attacked with respect to the immigration issue. And is that something that we can address? The fact that in our country, we're again being divided along so many lines, from sometimes whether it's the media's intent, whether it's sort of being misinformed, but the way we present things, such that people who live in this country no longer seem to have a semblance of identity. They no longer seem connected, and as a result, there's little or no unity. Now, as an example, a fellow in the group discussion earlier who was saying, here we have the World Cup, and if you get beyond some of the antics and the unexpected behaviors and outcomes thus far of the teams, he said right within Cayman, in his office, all the different nationalities and even the few Caymanian staff that are there, they're all cheering for different teams, and sometimes the discussions, although respectful, are certainly heated because the fans are following their respective teams. Some of whom is their home country, others it's the team of their choice. They enjoy it. Some are questioning why their team didn't qualify for that initial round to begin with, but nonetheless. Now he said he used that as an example to indicate how easily our society is being polarized and how unfortunate division is being allowed to go across so many streams in our society. Now, your view, 949-8037, or toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, you can send us your thoughts on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. Individual had sent us a WhatsApp message earlier today asking for us to look at certain things, and unfortunately the position he put forward we weren't able to confirm. Seemed to have been a bit of I guess in a sense, in his view, just conjecture and speculation, and didn't want to add any irresponsible comments from the perspective of creating any false rumors or rumors and the like. But he did share with us that here we have, in the Cayman context, access to things that sometimes gets sort of disseminated, and sometimes very quickly and without question. Sometimes, depending on who forwards on a particular comment, it may then gain a greater level of attraction. Now, in our exchange earlier, I said, this is why sometimes, we need to be able to trust something, but verify its authenticity, its source. Understand that when people share things with us, they themselves may be convinced, of its merit. They may think it has a sense of truth. They may believe the source is credible. But it's important for us to be able to verify. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Or you can email talktoday@candw.ky. As we head off to our news, Miss Susan, and then we put through our calls momentarily to those who are sharing their thoughts with us. Certainly invite you to be a part of our conversation and our discussion. Remember, you can WhatsApp 925-3261, or you can email talktoday@candw.ky, and always understand that our WhatsApp number is there for you to either send us a voice note, or you can text it across as you would normally as you communicate with your regular contacts. But you can also call us toll free at 1-800-534-8255. That's 1-800-534-8255. Now, when we come back, I want to ask you about something that a particular businessman shared with us in relation to sort of the growing economy and this whole idea that as we have more businesses opening, more things happening, well, is it always good? Well, I'll share with you what he shared, so stay tuned for Talk Today.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity. Stuck on you. Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
A 49-year-old Georgetown man has been charged with burglary, criminal trespass, and consumption and possession of ganja. The burglary charge stems from an incident early on the morning of Wednesday, July 4th at Moritz Tortuga in East End, where the man was found in one of the rooms at the location attempting to take several items. The criminal trespass charge stems from an incident earlier that night, July 3rd, where the man was seen loitering on the property. He appeared in court this morning. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. The 12 boys and their football coach trapped in waterlogged caves in Thailand will not be rescued overnight as they cannot dive. That's what officials are saying. The boys have been trapped for nearly 2 weeks in a chamber in the Tham Luang cave complex. They ventured in while the cave was dry but were caught out by a sudden surge of rain which flooded the system. Earlier, a former Thai Navy diver died on his way out of the caves after delivering air tanks to those trapped. China and Russia have hit back after U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods came into effect and U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to impose more. China's Commerce Ministry said it had lodged a new complaint with the World Trade Organization. Meanwhile, Russia said it would introduce extra duties on a range of products imported from the U.S. And France are into the semifinals of the World Cup for the first time since 2006 after seeing off Uruguay with the help of a terrible error by goalkeeper Fernando Muslera. Uruguay's run of 4 successive victories is over, as well as their hopes of reaching the final in Moscow of July 15th. It is France who march on, and they will face Brazil or Belgium in the semi-finals in St. Petersburg on Tuesday. Those sides play their quarterfinal later today. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. As I try now to see what my talent skills are like when I can talk and try to multitask. Looking for a message someone sent to me earlier. Let's see if I find it. If I do, I'll share it with you. I remember the sentiments, and I was just trying to call him during the break to be exactly sure of what he was sharing. So prior to the news break, I was saying that he had referenced the idea of development in the country and moving forward, and it always sounds good. His view, though, is that is development always in the best interest? Now, unfortunately, it's going to be one of those discussions where you get the name of certain players. Some of you may have heard the rumor, you may have even seen the press releases in the international media. I must confess I haven't seen it here locally, but I don't believe I've been looking that closely. That there is presumably some allegation that one of the international coffee houses is expected to be coming to Cayman, by the end of the year. So this businessman's perspective, and I would like you to weigh in on it if you so choose. He said, okay, here are 2 things that immediately comes to his mind. One, if there was a press release somewhere other than in Cayman announcing that this international coffee, franchise, conglomerate, however he termed it, is coming to Cayman, then is it that they've already secured all of their licensing, they've got everything in place, And so they're going to be coming here. Have they talked to the authorities? He said as he read the press release, it wasn't a case that they're saying, we're looking at expanding in the Cayman market is one that we're looking at. Nope, he said it was very much that they're coming here and they'll be here shortly. And he thought, well, that's kind of, unfortunate that happens that way, because it plays to sort of different mindset. And beyond that, he said, well, let's say that it does happen. What about the existing businesses that are here now? All right. If they already invested, they've got their staff, they've got their businesses, how will they be affected by a new player into the market? And he said, obviously people will look at him and say, oh, well, you're a businessman, you're just looking to protect your interests. Now, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think he has any interest in any of the any of the coffee outlets around the place. But he said it doesn't matter if it's coffee, or if it's selling ice cream, or if it's selling, when you have a local market, local players, should we be mindful to what extent? Bigger businesses, right? Now, could we develop that local competitive environment within the local pool of entrepreneurs? Many, he said, have questioned when a large player comes in and develops in certain areas, takes potential interest in certain businesses. Could they be at a great disadvantage to the existing smaller players? Would this be any different? Be interested to hear what you thought. 949-80 8037, Miss Susan? Yep. Or 1-800-534-8255. Of course, you can WhatsApp 925-3261. And I think, he has, as I was listening to what he was sharing, it puts forward some excellent points. Now, as he shared, many would say, he's just a greedy businessman who wants everything for himself. And he said, well, they'll say what they want, but wouldn't you rather one of your own, local entrepreneurs taking the opportunities that are in the market, perhaps a new startup, locally based, being able to benefit from the expanding economy and again, benefit locally, as opposed to others coming in? He said, whether it's large hotels, the banks, and some of the other businesses, the complaints and concerns that have happened in decades past, could they still be continuing today? Or whether it's a coffee place, or it's a tourism business, or whether it's a financial, business, or a large-scale farm, should they not be to the benefit of the people being driven by the local entrepreneurs? Your thoughts, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. I was looking earlier as I was sharing for a particular message that a fellow was sharing, and he had sent through a link to some environmental studies. His view was that, and I've shared, I believe, at least I hope I had, because I'd intended to. He had shared some stuff prior. He said that if you look at Cayman, as he has been recently, when you're, out on the boat specifically, whether, like he said, he has from time to time, on the cruise ship, they're coming in and they're a good ways off, and as you get closer and closer to the Georgetown Harbor, some days there's this haze, whether he's on his own boat or on the larger boats or the cruise ships, or even just when he's out exercising, he's finding that it looks like the environment is more and more polluted. The air doesn't taste or smell the same. Now, he found that increasingly a lot of the vehicles on our roads, not just the big heavy equipment, the buses or the public transport vehicles, but even the cars, and sometimes the newer cars, the amount of pollutants, the clouds of plumes of black smoke, as he calls it. He said he was behind just this morning on one of those newly developed roadways that we have, what seemed to be a rather expensive, almost brand new looking vehicle, and yet maybe it was because the person had accelerated quickly, but as the vehicle moved off, out came this big puff of black smoke. Now he had a question: is it the vehicle hasn't been serviced? Is it the fuel that the driver is putting into the vehicle? Is it something else that is happening? So from that newer like vehicle to much older vehicles, a lot of pollutants. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today. Hello, good afternoon.
Dwayne, sorry, Dwayne, number one, you Kingston.
Okay, I can almost hear you there, number one, not quite yet.
That is your problem down there because I'm hearing you clear.
Well, that's good. I can even hear you shouting, and I think I'm going to get you connected up to my headset almost quickly. There you go. All right.
Oh, you didn't have your headset on?
Yes, sir. Welcome, and I'm glad it's you. How are you today, sir?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here listening to you.
Oh, man. I'm hoping your day is going well.
Well, it's kind of cloudy, but what can I do?
Well, you know what? I can give you some options if you want to.
I hope they're good ones.
Well, you should know that, man.
I wouldn't know till I prove it.
Well,
come on now, don't tell me you can't take it. Listen, what I heard you saying a while ago, something about business coming to open up here, and
yes,
what
sir.
was the problem behind it? Was it that someone was questioning it or worried about it or what?
Well, yeah, it's twofold. Maybe I was a little bit too polite. The fellow was sharing that as we look at expanding the economy and more business opportunities open up, in this instance, some sort of large-scale international brand of coffee is supposedly coming to our shores probably by end of year. And he was sharing that there were, to his mind, from the country's perspective, maybe two things that he caught his eye. One being that there was some announcement publicly in another part of the world, not here locally, that this thing is going to be happening and they'll be in the Cayman market. That caused him to think two things. Firstly, well, has this entity already secured all the licenses? Have they got everything in place to be able to come in and set up shop and start running when they're ready? If they haven't, then how presumptuous it is of them to do so. Secondly, if they came in now, because this is a coffee outfit, and there are many coffee outfits here in Cayman already, how would that big international name brand come into the marketplace? How would that affect the already existing coffee shops, as it were, that are here now? And not that he was trying to say that competition is bad or we should be discouraging it, but why is it then that we're not looking at trying to grow and capitalize more on our local entrepreneurs, our local investors, and would this thing displace the already existing ones or even make it harder for future ones?
Yeah, well, let me ask you this question.
Yes,
are the
sir.
local trying to bring more?
If the local ones are trying to bring more?
Yeah.
Just my opinion, okay? From what I can see, two things. I believe that some of the local outfits, and I can respectfully say to you, I don't know who own all and whichever, but we see on Grand Cayman specifically, we see that one coffee place has an outlet here, and then they have it, and has another place. We see other ones that are just an individual outlet, in one section or the other. How profitable they are, that's for them and their investors and accountants to tell. But yeah, I think that they are trying to expand. I think that they are trying to, as the economy grows and improves, as the population increases, I think they establish businesses, as we talk about the coffee places. And yeah, I think that they're trying to reposition themselves, get better branding in products, and take as much as they can to invest in their businesses.
Well, what I would say to them is this: if all of them get together and have a talk with someone up in some head, one of them government said, look, we got enough coffee here, we got this, we got that here, we don't need no more, give us a chance, and then if it don't work, See if somebody else come.
Well, if we did that, would people, other businesses, other consumers, or others would just say, wait a minute, now you're talking about protectionistic, policies.
Right. That's why I called you.
Yes, sir. And that's why I always enjoy listening to you and having you share with us.
That's why I called you, sir, just to hear your opinion, too.
Yeah, well, sometimes I actually happen to share those,
Well, listen to Candine, and you just talking straight.
Well, I am very, very thankful in that there are so many people who will come and say, I just want to pick your brain. Some say, I just want to share something with you. Some will deliberately say, listen, I wouldn't mind if you would share this with the public like this businessman did, because his concern was that, if this thing happens, not only how is it going to affect local businesses, but more importantly, why is it that so much happens? Just like we have had people not even make the allegation, and more have actually provided evidence that a job is being advertised in some other part of the world, and never advertised here.
Aye.
So he says, well, if a company can say in some part of the world, we're going to be opening up a coffee shop, a hotel, a whatever, in December 2015 or December 2025 or November 2018, whenever it is, right? We're going to be going ahead with it.
Mm-hmm.
Then shouldn't the local populace, be aware of that?
Yes, sir, and there should be advertisement for workers.
Well, there is that too, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
See, if local people are interested in it, tell them, okay, so will be happening. If you want a job, make an application or something. If nobody applies, well, you just bring somebody to it.
Yes, sir.
That's how I feel about it. And one last thing, I heard you talking something about the cruise ship or somebody seeing this fuzzy-looking thing in the air or something.
Oh,
you know what everybody down there need to look about? It's not only the ships, it's the airlines,
Yeah, and in what way? Tell me.
When they're coming in the exhaust or when they're taking off, look here, you stand up right there, you might see, but that thing it take a while before you come out there complete that you can sit at.
Yes, sir.
That's why when you see some of them even flying so high to them white streaks, is the exhaust coming out. It don't have to be the ships alone.
No, but he was talking about seeing the haze on land and he was saying it was caused by all the cars on the land.
Yes.
And because he's so far offshore, whether it's his personal boat or somebody else's, or when he came into port from a cruise ship, being up high so early in the morning, he called it a haze. Hope that was the word he used. That's what I remember him saying. So there you go, right?
Yeah.
All right, sir.
Well, all right. I just said that everything put things in the air, especially carbon monoxide. They come out of everything.
Sadly, probably even when we talk.
Huh?
Probably even when we talk, carbon pollution.
Well, if they want to when I talk, I'm not going to bottom place so they can come look. Come and mouth twisted, he won't stay in, so.
Oh, man.
You know that sometime.
Well, you keep talking, so you keep sharing.
Well, I'm going to keep talking to the Lord and say, look, this is it.
Yes.
All right? And I listened to your show, and I said, Caymanians, if something needs to be done to give them a work, go and make the government know. Say, look, we need work. Make these people know if they are coming. Put something out. If we want it, we go and apply for it and make sure we show up.
Yes,
don't
sir.
just apply and don't go.
True.
Otherwise, that put a bad name on the Cayman Islands.
Say what you mean what you say.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And have a good week to all of you down there. And look there on a never shut Radio Cayman down.
Not at all.
Okay, 2.5 price. Okay.
Talk to you soon, sir.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I believe. Going to pause, Miss Susan? Yep, thank you for helping us here. We're going to pause and take a short break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Kia Soul passes it to Kia Sportage. Sportage makes a stylish move over to the sleek Optima. Optima then flicks it across to the 7-seat Sorrento. Sorrento heads it. Goal! Kia!
It's time to score with the entire 2018 Kia lineup at GT Motors. Get up to $3,000 cash back. The first 50 customers will score a World Cup replica football and mascot. Hurry, it's the best thing that's happened to car buyers all year. The 2018 Kia clearance sale, only at GT Motors on Godfrey Nixon Way. Kia, driving football fever.
Cayman Water Company would like to advise the public of possible traffic delays with the milling and paving of West Bay Road southbound. The roadworks take place between Andy's Rent-A-Car and Coconut Joe's from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. Drivers are asked to proceed with caution and obey all traffic signs.
It's hard. Being a parent is demanding, not to mention trying to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. I needed help, and the Ministry of Education was able to provide it for my child to attend preschool. From one parent to another, if you need the financial help, submit your application today to find out if you qualify for preschool funding assistance.
If you have a child who is 3 years old but not yet 4 by September the 1st, you may be eligible to receive funding. Application forms can be collected from the Government Administration Building, the Department of Education Services, all early childhood centres, and may be found on the Ministry of Education's website at www.education.gov.ky. If you need more information about this government assistance program, please do email ecap@gov.ky. That's ECAP@gov.ky, or call 244-5724.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Hi, I'm remodeling a bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's new kitchen and bath center.
Satisfy your World Cup cravings at Merengue Town. Now under sole ownership by Mr. Johnny. $15 bucket specials during the game. And after game time, it's party time. With Karaoke Wednesdays, the Friday night party with DJ Bambino. And on Saturday and Sunday, get your sweetness on with DJ Sugar. Enjoy free finger foods and soup. And don't forget about the fried fish specials. Only at Merengue Town. Located in Georgetown on Boilers Road off Walkers Road. Merengue Town. It's time. Feel the rhythm. Time to feel the vibes. It's time for Merengue Town.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 or toll free with the complaints of flow at 1-800-534-8255. You can also send us some thoughts via their WhatsApp 925-3261. Let's read some of those sentiments that were expressed. This one's in relation to the amount of duty allowance that returning residents can get when they go overseas. Says, how do you feel about the $350 duty free that's allowed for returning Caymanians that don't drink nor smoke? But for those that do drink and smoke, they're allowed more on top of the $350 with so much liquor and tobacco duty free. Do you think that is fair? Says, we believe the duty free allowed for returning Caymanians should be $700 and the liquor and tobacco products should be in that $700 and not in addition to it. Appreciate this person taking the time to share that thought. As you know, the opposition leader has asked and even I think put forward a motion that government consider increasing the duty-free allowance. Now, we had a few people who had shared their views and they were saying that amount has been there for a fairly long time. Like this last person's sentiments, if you're coming back that is your allowance per person at the discretion of the collective customs. That if you're bringing in, I think, cigarette and alcohol products, you can get that allowance, and then so much depending on the quantity or the particular item that you're bringing back. Now, as a business, would you feel that if that allowance was even higher, that would be to your detriment? As a consumer, do you think it would be beneficial to be able to bring back a higher, amount that is not subject to duty? Do you believe that if it was a little bit differently, it would be better for the economy? Well, what is your view? 949-8837 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. I was looking for it again during the break, and I don't know if I somehow forwarded in the wrong spot. A couple of, regular listeners sent through something recently where they were sharing that we're seeing now, specifically in the U.S., there's increasing calls for teachers to be trained and armed with firearms, with guns, to be able to protect themselves and their classrooms and the students in the schools. Now, the piece I was looking for was a comment by one of the individuals who said, well, is that something that we would even, this person's view, even be foolish enough to consider implementing in our schools? Seeing that increasingly that there are behaviors in our schools, whether here in the Cayman Islands or elsewhere, that sometimes the authorities believe that they'll be well-intentioned to respond in a certain way. Perhaps not unlike those in the U.S. Certainly, he said, as a parent, he wants his children to be safe. Says there's one of his children, he says, is in university now, and when you hear about incidents on campuses, every parent must feel a bit of concern. But putting guns in the hands of teachers, he thought. Now, the thing that I was looking for as I was going through what he had shared initially, it seemed that, as he had identified, there are increasingly a number of very vocal proponents who are sharing more and more that this would be a way to protect students. Now, he obviously had a different view, and he thought, is there a way to address the issue to ensure that the schools and the students, the teachers, and all the staff there are safe, not only in school, but in the malls, in the car parks, on the play fields, in their neighborhoods? And he's wondering, are we ignoring some of the initial signs? Are we even conscious of some of the behaviors within our communities that could lead, just like it happened and is happening elsewhere? Are we even conscious of potential of it happening here? Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hi, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon, sir. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I just really in the conversation in regards to these students and stuff in school. Let me tell you something, Dwayne. From the time that they took the strap out of the school, they took every bit of the discipline of the school, right? When we were going to school, that you know that you did something that you weren't supposed to do, you won't get that strap on you. You thought twice about doing it. And with some of these children, how disrespectful they are to their teachers. I've been around some of those schools where the blatant disrespect for teachers. If they still had the strap that they could cut their backside, it would bring discipline to them. And then half of it then too is the parents as well. The parents want to jump up in arms and stuff if the teacher got to discipline them. And when parents don't do their job, then it has a major impact on the way in which the child go to school and how he performs in every aspect. It's got to start at home, and then it's transferred into the schools. But some of those poor teachers really take a lot of abuse from these students, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I couldn't be a teacher. I'll tell you right now, I couldn't be a teacher with some of these students I see there. Because they would have me in jail the first week.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing. I'm looking for what the fellow had sent to me, and the reason why I don't want to paraphrase, because he put things in a way that I thought it was not only succinct, but it would sort of speak to a certain way. And he did allude to what you're saying, the lack of discipline in the schools, the authority that teachers and schools have, that sense, as you shared, of sort of cooperation where the school and the home were all on the same page. Now, there was something that he said that, and I end up sort of paraphrasing to an extent, but he alluded to the fact that sometimes in our schools, the people that are there, from the teachers to all of the other, I call them the staff, aren't always of the same caliber that you would have maybe had way back when, or that you would expect. For some, it's probably just a job. They don't have the mentoring, the experience, the different things. But the environment is also different. And the part that struck me was when he said that parents sometimes are so disconnected from the schools, so disconnected from the lives of their children, that they just, drop them to school or pick them up, or sometimes the child gets to and from, and the parent is not even at all involved or aware.
Yeah, I mean, and then you can see. I mean, there's an area on Walker's Road that I don't asking you. I'm telling you, because I've made reports about it. You see the students going there, and they're smoking weed before they go to school. Okay, they're smoking weed before they go to school because, again, lack of parenting skills at home, right? I mean, now mind you got some parents that are the best parents in the world, and their children turn to be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
That is understandable. But if you were taking note in your child, I mean, you must be can smell the weed on him at some point in time, and try from then. But as I said, the parents is solely to be blamed, and the poor teachers is trying their best to teach children, impart knowledge to them, but in the same fate, they're not getting any cooperation from the student,
right?
And that support is the major problem.
Yeah. Well, you're sharing, I think, what I guess the gist of what he was saying, but I appreciate you weighing on it, because his concern is that there's the safety of all on the campus, from the student to the teacher to that visitor, whether prospective student or somebody coming in to assist with something. Now, if I may ask, though, his view, and as I was listening to what he was saying and what he has sent through, was that we seem to believe that whether we put gates around the compound, whether we put some sort of buzzer access control into the schools, or whether we have armed guards, that in and of itself, he referenced something about schools using, I guess, closed circuit television cameras to monitor the compound and the classrooms and the like. His view was that we're doing these things and they amount to no more than just sort of a band-aid. It's just a show. The real root of the problem isn't being addressed. I think you've hit it. We're not having good parenting, good cooperation between school and home.
Exactly. Yeah, and until you get that it can be transferred.
Mm-hmm.
You transfer those good principles, good manners, good behavior to school, and you see a lot of times, I mean, people, they got to understand that the more respectful you use towards the teacher is the more the extra mile that teacher is going to go to try to impart that knowledge to you.
Right.
But I mean, could you blame a teacher if every time I talk to you gonna use foul language at me and try to physically abuse me? I'm not gonna spend as much time on you as I'm gonna do on the student that is really trying to learn, right? So I mean, this has a lot of good benefits, but until parents start teaching their children the essence of being respectful to the teachers and stuff, it ain't gonna be any better. I mean, when we were growing up, these people talking about abuse, man. When we were growing up in the district East End, if you said something to one of them old people, and they didn't like, and they thought it was out of order, they cut your backside right there, and you don't dare go home and tell your parents that you got it, because you're gonna get another cutting again. That was the days when the village was helping to raise the child, but now the village don't care anything about the child now, because of everything has changed. Every fabric of our society has changed. Therefore, with the fabric in our society changing, and it's changing to get to the worst, then we don't expect them to have every generation will ultimately change and adjust the way to the way in which the village has changed.
As we shared, we're taking away, those principles, that moral compass that we had, where people had a sense of respect, they acted with integrity, and there was a behavior. You may not necessarily have liked it, but then, as a child specifically, you understood that there were certain expectations as to the way you address, older people. And
one final thing, Dwayne, just before, because I have to go, but just one final thing. You just take, for example, when I was growing up as a young boy in East End, you had those guys that would smoke ganja, right? They would smoke their weed. But it was unheard of to see those guys around a bar or anywhere in that public domain. They would go in the bush and sit down and smoke their weed, right? But good God Almighty, they run up and down here. Every corner you get to, they just walk them down freely, smoking the weed, and so it goes to show you that the guys those days back then had respect for the police, and they were afraid of the consequences.
Right, but it also appeared that they smoked it amongst themselves. They didn't try to draw the others who didn't smoke.
There you go. There you go.
And now it seems that it's, like you said, it's just out in the public, and it's like you're offering somebody candy.
And there's a spot here in town that every time I pass in and I got my window down, I always reminisce and laugh and say, well, the perfume is being blared again, right? Because it's like a perfume.
But if it is that there are some in our communities who know about activities like that, why is it that the wider community, the authorities, not necessarily to arrest and imprison and so on, but why is it not addressed properly?
Well, the sole thing about that situation is that to be quite honest with you, Dwayne, this has got away from our CIPS so long ago. It's not even funny. The kind of policing that used to be done years ago, it's not being done now, and it's because it is purely. I talk to officers. It is purely because of red tape that exists, and sometimes I'm wondering why this red tape exists. Why all the bureaucracy to get policing done? So what has happened over the years is that officers just simply have given up, and to a certain extent, because they're not allowed to do their jobs the way in which they were trained to do their jobs. Now everything is this. You got to go to this command, that command, and this. By the time they get the information act upon, the crime has been gone so long ago and committed, and the person gone. So I guess that they have lost the war, and that it ain't nothing that's going to bring this back in regards to those guys out there.
Allow me to, if I may, I recognize you have to go to ask a final question. Whether you wish to weigh in on it or can, is okay. But whether it's the smoking of ganja or whatever we call it these days, or it's something else we see in relation to traffic offences, is it then that there's this growing loud call locally as well as internationally that it be legalized or decriminalized for personal use? That whether it's the police officer in his or her own right, whether it's the subtle, tacit, or outright sort of nod from higher command, or whatever it is, that we don't go after that yet, because eventually that's small. Is it that we're looking at some things, again, smoking of ganja in public places, whether it's the vehicular offences or other things, we're looking at those things and say they're not that big a deal, so let's not enforce them. Is that why it's becoming so prolific and everybody seems to be doing it when they want, where they want?
Well, I mean, it seems like that is a part of the problem. But Dwayne, my view is that they need to, instead of clogging up the court system with the consumption aspect of it,
right.
What they need to do is they need to be able to write tickets. I find them there and then, and it's just like a traffic ticket. And if you don't pay it, then a warrant is issued for your arrest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it eases down on the amount of paper trail, etc. And I think that if an officer had that ability, perhaps it might stimulate him more to get involved. But I don't know what the root cause is, but like I said, that is one fight that they will never regain control over, never ever again. I mean, those guys used to run and hide and to smoke weed, but to do anything. But now it's become so common that, and like I said, I don't care if you smoke weed or not. I just don't want you blown in my face. It's very simple. I don't like the scent of it. I don't want you blown in my face. You can stay in your yard and you can smoke weed all you want, right? But when I'm out in the public domain, I don't feel that I should have to suffer the smoking of weed in my face in the public domain. You want to smoke that? You stay in your own yard and smoke it, but don't bring it to me.
Well, you've done it with cigarettes and others where there are certain places that you are no longer by law allowed to smoke.
Yeah. So,
I appreciate you sharing.
But anyway, Dwayne, take care, man.
Thank you too, man. Thank you always for being willing to weigh in and offer such great comments. Thanks again, man. To our listeners, I think it's almost that time to pause, right, Miss Susan? Man, sometimes time gets away from me and I don't pay attention. She says, hey, commercial break. Well, I appreciate those who advertise with us. We have a fantastic sales department, do some excellent production of your commercials. So if you want to advertise, check out our sales team. Happily air them for you. The beauty is that you've got, the best programming around. So you'll get more bang for your buck. More talk to do is we come back, so please stay tuned.
The empowered woman. Performance-driven, strong-spirited. You need a ride to match your drive. Whether boss by day or mom by night, with lots of legroom and space for sports gear and other things. The new Ford EcoSport is built for you, and it's now on sale for only $22,000, saving you $2,900 off during That Motors summer sale. Stop by That Motors, where you can also save $3,000 off the new Ford Ranger XLT double cab truck. Just two of the many great deals going on now at That Motors on Walker's Road.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
Give me freedom, give me fire.
Cave Bar and Lounge in Northside, your home for all the World Cup action. Open daily from 10 a.m. with $70 bucket specials during all World Cup games and daily happy hour specials. Feel the passion, feel the fire, free the mind, and enjoy the game at the Cave Bar and Lounge, located on Frankstown Road in the Old Nico Norte.
When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. So wave your flag.
Cave Bar and Lounge.
Radio Cayman News, island-wide coverage.
Officers were called out to the Strand complex where a fight had broken out between four people.
Of the news that matter.
Olive Hilda Miller picked up the Order of the British Empire for services to the community in the Cayman Islands.
As it happens.
Cayman seeing an uptick in the flu.
This is in par with the increase of similar illness in places like Florida.
In-depth team coverage at 6 and 10 p.m. and always online at radiocayman.gov.ky. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Optical Outlook is so wicked.
They're brilliant. Tremendous.
So hot. They're awesome.
Yo, them cool.
They're sweet.
Just ice, mate.
I love them like cooked food.
Head to Optical Outlook and find many designer brands for men and women. Sun safety and eye health care never look so good. They'll be able to help you find the best fit for your face and budget. Call 746-2020 and book your eye exam today. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook and make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
The time is now. The speed is here. March to the beat of the mobile revolution with Flow 4G LTE and a prepaid mobile combo plan. Activate a Flow prepaid mobile combo plan to get calling minutes and data in one convenient package, and every plan comes with double data. Enjoy the proven best overall experience in Cayman with a Flow prepaid mobile combo plan. Now with double data, coverage, value, speed. Flow 4G LTE. Always connected, always faster. Visit discoverflow.ky. Terms and conditions apply.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Did you know that recycling collection containers are located island-wide in Grand Cayman? The Department of Environmental Health program is an integral part of DEH's waste management responsibility in the Cayman Islands. Start your recycling program at home today. Put your tin and aluminum cans in appropriate DEH recycling containers at all Foster supermarkets, Kirk Market, or Hurley's Grand Harbor. Help keep the Cayman Islands clean. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, go to www.deh.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037. Or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. Always invite you to share your thoughts with us. You can email talktoday@candw.ky or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Here's a sentiment expressed to us by our WhatsApp. Always appreciate our listeners taking various forms to send us their comments. It says, it seems that every time the discussion, such as the present one, is taking place, the good old spliff is brought into the discussion as a primary player. The reality is that, as the gentleman who just called stated, the fabric of society and our culture change very significantly. Perhaps a more appropriate point of discussion may be crack cocaine, the use of crack, its causes and symptoms, and the recidivism, as well as what it takes from all parties in society to overcome this and similar issues. I appreciate this person, taking a quick time and sending us through that thought. And I read that in light of another sentiment that was expressed to us just during the break, but not necessarily to be read for public consumption. Along the lines of this last sort of message, the person's view as he called and he said, listen, we're going to get to a point, whether it's in the best interest of society or not, that the use for personal consumption of ganja, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, is going to be legalized. His view is that it has to be of a sufficient, small enough quantity not to constitute, someone who's a dealer. Now, for some, he said, they'll buy, a pack of cigarettes and they may last them for the week. They may find that they have 10 packs and they go through for the day. So when you have an individual who has a certain quantity, what would constitute personal consumption? Now, I know some things, unfortunately, I don't know this, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. I don't know how much it takes to, make a a spliff or a joint. I don't know how that is done, and whether it's always in a form of some sort of tobacco-like thing or if it's done in some other format. But as I was quickly talking with him during the break, he said, if you have, 50 pounds in your house, is that enough for a week or for a month? Is it that you buy it in bulk like you would, as he said, toilet paper and paper towel and, washing liquid and the like? You buy it in bulk and you store it? Or are you going to be relegated to only buying, 5 pounds or 5 ounces or, 5 whatever? Now, my discussion with him probably wasn't the best way because I don't necessarily have that level of intimate knowledge. But his point was that if we're going to, in his view, legalize it, then it should only be for personal consumption. It shouldn't be, in his view, that you can walk about the street and smoke it, or you can drive and smoke it. Just like, he says it's supposed to be with respect to alcohol. And yet, he shared, like alcohol, you're not supposed to leave a premises with a drink. And if you did, you're supposed to put it in some other kind of container. Yet how often is that being enforced? You're not supposed to not only drive when you're drunk, but not drive while you're drinking. But how often does that happen? He said people are, by law, are not, allowed to smoke within, 10 feet, 20 feet, whatever it is, of a building. Yet, how often is that, ignored? You're not supposed to smoke within certain spaces. Well, that may be enforced a little bit more, but again, now, our public parks and beaches and the like, people still smoke there. Legally, as he understands it, not supposed to happen. His point, let's get it right. Let's make sure that we enforce and that we create a culture that respects the legislation. And his other sort of final point was the idea that unless and until that happens, that it should be enforced now. It's illegal to possess it. If the police don't want to have to issue a ticket or arrest people, they should at least let the people know, listen, if you're going to smoke it here and we see you, we're going to be forced to arrest you. Well, let's go to our phones and see what our caller shares. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi, how are you today?
Good.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yes, I heard you talking about the traveling amount of spending, and we don't allow so much to
right.
To bring in for that amount of money. Anything after I got to pay duties on it, whatever. Sterling, it is coming to the grind now that we as Caymanian, that call ourselves Caymanian, we're not going to go too far here any longer, because nothing seems to be shaping up to make us any better in our own country. And when our country can't shape up with the people and the people with the country, we're going to be left behind in every capacity, because then everybody knows that we have to go overseas to shop for what we want, or we purchase it here. And sometimes they don't even have what we want here. We end up going overseas. And then you got to come back here and pay duties on a little comforter or 2 extra bottle of cologne you may have in your bag or whatever the case may be. Sterling, let me tell you something. This island and we, the people of this island, we are going to hell in a handbasket. But I'm sick and tired of past president and future government talking about how
right.
It's better for us here in the Cayman Islands, and we all going to get piece of the pie and blah, 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 blah. We ain't getting no pie. Because, flowers we make no pie with. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, well.
Darling, I don't know what to say about that. It's looking good. I mean, what it is to give a Caymanian or anyone they call Caymanian here a blight of $700 to go away and shop. And Sterling, I want to say this before we go on the break. I know your break coming up. Sterling, when I look and see how these people are here and work permit, and they can bring their families over for the summers, the Christmases, and the Easter, whatever the case may be. And our people saying they can't get no job. And then you're standing in a line at somewhere in a foreigner can pull out a debit card to pay for a donut and a cup of coffee. And the Caymanians say they can't find a job to help pay their bills or help feed them and their family. I what they want in life. So I said to my Caymanian people, we need to come off the stool and say, you know what? I need to start selling for half a loaf because I can't get a full loaf right now. So let me come on in and get that debit card and go buy me a cup of coffee and a donut as well too. And let me take my turn overseas shopping for the Christmas or for the summer. There's going to be a lot of Caymanian kids who will not be able to travel this summer, but the airport is full of visitors coming in to see their parents, and they're here gathering them up and taking them home all excited. And the majority of them is domestic helpers, contractors, and so forth there in Cayman, driving the number one,
yes, ma'am.
You name it.
All right. Hey, thank you very, very much for that, and certainly, something we can pick up after the news break. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
The Advance Automotive Chevrolet 30-day countdown is on. For the month of July, save big with once-in-a-year pricing on all remaining 2018 Chevrolet models. Advance Automotive is making room for 2019 models with unbeatable pricing on remaining 2018 models. We are in the last 25 days. Come and see the 2018 Trax Compact SUV, the most equipped vehicle in its class, and available with $500 cash back. 30-day countdown from Advance Automotive. Visit the showroom on Owen Roberts Drive or visit AdvanceChevrolet.com today.
Give me freedom, give me fire.
Cave Bar and Lounge in Northside. Your home for all the World Cup action. Open daily from 10 a.m. with $70 bucket specials during all World Cup games and daily happy hour specials. Feel the passion, feel the fire, free the mind, and enjoy the game at the Cave Bar and Lounge, located on Frankstown Road in the Old Nico Norte.
When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. So wave your flag.
Cave Bar and Lounge.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Police are searching for two young men who held up a food truck in Red Bay yesterday. It happened just before midnight. Two men armed with a handgun and machete took cash and a handbag from the Ala Kebab food truck on Selkirk Drive before running away. Police say the men appeared to be fairly young, perhaps in their 20s, slim, tall, with light complexions. Their faces were covered with what appeared to be T-shirts. One of them was last seen wearing a colored jacket. If you have any information, call the Georgetown Police Station at 949-4222. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. U.S. President Donald Trump will meet with the Queen at Windsor and hold talks with the Prime Minister at Chequers on his 2-day visit to the UK next week. The itinerary for Thursday and Friday confirms the U.S. President will stay at the U.S. Ambassador's house in Regent's Park overnight, but he will spend much of his time outside London at formal events. A chemical weapons watchdog has found that chlorine gas was used in April's attack on the Syrian city of Douma. The interim report by the Organization of the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons said various chlorinated organic chemicals had been found, but there was no evidence of nerve agents. Dozens of civilians were killed in the attack on the rebel-held town in the eastern Ghouta region near Damascus. The Syrian government denies carrying out any chemical weapons attacks. And England's Harry Kane is used to accolades for his goal scoring. After all, it took him just 79 seconds and 3 touches to score on his international debut against Lithuania in March of 2015. But Kane, twice the Premier League's top scorer with 108 goals in 153 top flight games, now has the biggest individual goal scoring prize of all in his sights, the World Cup's Golden Boot. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. It's open line. It's a Friday. Yes, and the games are being played, and some of us are not too happy with the outcome, others are celebrating. And then there are those like me who are trying to avoid so that I can get home this evening and put on a DVR and hopefully not know what transpired, but let's see if that'll happen. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. And as the caller prior to the break, very much appreciate her comments and her taking time to share. But the allowance, as she put forward, why can't it be increased? Why is it that we don't rethink some of the things and make it more efficient? Perhaps when we look at the country and always see the potential to incentivize the citizens, is there a way that the local businesses, from Cayman to our hotels to our restaurants, somehow incentivize the local marketplace? Instead of adopting the notion of staycations, they adopt the notion that there's this pool here that they should cater to more openly and find ways to make it, more cost effective to do business here. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Hello, good
Hi.
afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, I've been trying to get a hold of someone from Monday, but with no luck. I'm just calling because I need some help. My rental property was vandalized by the couple whose plan expired June the 30th. Early Sunday morning, I went to have a look at the property and I realized that they did some damages, and the police were called immediately. They came fairly quickly and they took pictures, and then they said to me I should report to the station 9 o'clock that Sunday night. They came just after 6 a.m. Sunday morning, and they wanted me to report back 9 o'clock. I was there from 8:45, and I said to them I just need to give my statement to whoever is willing to take it, and they said no, it has to be the officers who were called out. I waited until about 9:20. One of the officers said they're doing briefing and they'll get back to me shortly. Excuse me. At around 9:30, the female officer who came on the scene, she said, "I'm sorry, but we have some bad news for you. All our computers are down and we won't be able to take a statement from you. Will you be able to come in on Friday, which is today, almost a week later, to give your statement?" Someone called me this morning, one of the officers who came, and he said, "We have some more bad news for you. We won't be able to take a statement from you because our system is still down." I said, "What about writing it on paper?" They said they don't do that anymore. So I don't know what to do at this point. They said they can't make any charges or look up the individuals without a written statement from me. What am I supposed to do?
Interesting question. Now, you've been to the police. As I hear you, you're not happy that they're unable to do what they should do because of their lack of resources at the time.
Yeah.
Is there a process higher up the command that you can go to and get some redress? I mean, could you type the statement up for them and give it to them and say, hey, this is the statement I would give you? Does it have to be in a particular style of paper?
Well, they told me that they have forms that they have to use, special forms.
Mm-hmm.
They're out of as well. So I don't think they will be able to take my written statement from me. No.
Yeah, well,
I'm very frustrated over it because, when I got there Sunday, they told me that. They said to me, not that because we didn't contact them as yet, we're not investigating the matter. And then this morning, they called to tell me they can't do anything without a statement. I was always available to give my statement, and no one is taking it.
What could they do? Is it, and forgive me, I don't know the police protocols, but can there be a video statement that you give? I mean, we have video cameras these days. Is that something that is acceptable? Do you sit there and speak to the camera?
Okay.
Yeah, I maybe someone else might actually have a much more direct answer that I'm missing, but it's challenging. Respectfully, I would go back again and as best as you
maybe
can.
because these are young people, they're like in their 20s. Maybe, I don't know. If maybe somebody more mature
yeah.
that come and would get better results. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Maybe go back and just say, this happened Sunday, you were there, today is Friday. If the officer isn't there, is there higher up? Sometimes it's just a matter of being able to help people along in the thought process, and maybe they might be able to assist you in that respect. Yeah. So, because you're not looking at complaining, you're just trying to, how can I move this along so that you can get redress?
Someone said should talk to a commissioner or someone like that.
Well, yeah,
maybe
go up.
Get better results, or someone higher up or something.
Yeah, go up the chain of command. I mean, from these officers, there are probably other people in the, up higher in their command. So until you get to the commissioner, there are others on the rung of ladder. Maybe there's a sergeant or inspector, whatever it is that they're called over there, and so check it out.
Yeah, I will.
All right. It would be nice to hear that you got it resolved quickly and that you could give us a positive report. That is just a matter of sometimes a little bit of miscommunication. Hope it works out for you, but I look forward to you telling us more one way or the other. All right.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man. Don't give up. Press on. And this is not complaining against the police, but unfortunately, and there probably is a justifiable reason. Maybe I'll find out why. But we've heard from a number of people who've had different issues. A particular officers attend, and when those officers are not available, nobody else can take the statement. Now, whether that's the rule, but someone a long time ago suggested, well, if you went into the bank today to give them paperwork and you came back, or you went to a different branch or the employee wasn't there, if your file is pending, certainly someone else in the bank can continue with your work. Hopefully, if you went to immigration or customs or supermarket to return something, do you have to return it to the person that you bought it from? Could not one of the other employees. No, policing is a specialty, so maybe it's a justifiable reason. But if it isn't, if there's a way to again make that more efficient, well, perhaps we'll see that. Now, if you're a lawyer, a police officer, or an experienced individual with this, and you can offer up some meaningful, helpful, timely advice to the lady that called, why not share with us? Maybe there is something there. I only suggested videotaping, not to be facetious, but is that something that is possible? You might say, oh, that's really foolish because you can't use that these days. Well, when you don't know, you don't know. 949-8037, 949-8037. Or toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261, or you can send us your thoughts on our email, talktoday@candw.ky. Share with us what you were saying. Now, in addition to what we were talking earlier about, businesses, international franchises, large multinationals and conglomerates coming to our shores and competing, we had a couple of sentiments expressed to us. One individual who said, listen, as a businessman, he's looking at expanding, and sometimes buying a franchise is the way to go. You already have, just open up the box and follow all of, sort of procedures. Everything's done for you. It makes it that much easier to get started. You have brand recognition and the like. He did share that the downside is that if something happens to the franchise internationally, it could affect all of them. But for the most part, that's why you pay the franchise fee. They tend to maintain a sense of brand loyalty, brand recognition, and ensure that the brand is always positioned as positively as possible. But he can see that in a market like Cayman, if you bring in more and more, he thought way back when we were looking at the real estate industry, now that we have very recognizable names, some that are not just within North America, but some that are very global, we have them on our doorstep. Is that good or bad? Would we have been better and follow, as we like to compare ourselves to Bermuda? Why don't we, do something similarly? Now, as for the one or two callers who are challenged, getting through on our 800 number, would you maybe try dialing us on 949-8037? I just shared it with Susan. Some callers are explaining that they're having a grave difficulty getting through on the 800 number. We know that happens from time to time. So if you can, and you're not able to get us on the 800 toll-free line, dial 949-6990. See if that helps as well. 949-6990. We have a couple of callers in the queue as we'll go to our phones momentarily. We do recognize that is an issue from time to time from some people. We're not quite sure why that is, but it is something that we are aware of and hopefully can get resolved. So 949-6990 or 1-800-534-8255 is always, the 800 number that has from time to time worked. But if it's not working for you, 949-6990 or 949-8037. As we go to our phones, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yeah, good afternoon. Dwayne, Sterling, Mario, Ebanks, how are you?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Mario. Sterling, Dwayne, Ebanks here. How are you, man?
Yes, my friend. Good afternoon to you and all the listeners. And first of all, let me just give my sympathies on the passing of your dear mother-in-law, Mrs. Hislop.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Deepest sympathies to you and your family and your wife and all the grandchildren and everybody in the family.
Very much appreciate it.
Yes. And the funeral is tomorrow.
No, next Saturday.
It's next Saturday.
The
Okay,
14th.
Tomorrow I have a little conflict, but next Saturday, God willing, I'll be able to make it. So I'm glad that I said that because I clarify that for myself and for the listeners. Dwayne, just want to comment on a couple of quick points, a couple of international economic points, really. I know you're an economic scholar yourself, so you would be of interest as well. In the Compass business page of June the 6th, there was an article about the EU threatens U.S. tax blacklisting. And in that article, it talked about the European Union, blacklisting the United States because of this common reporting standard and the U.S. not agreeing to exchange of details on the foreign bank account holders in the U.S., the tax authorities in the respective home countries. So the EU is going to blacklist the United States. I thought that was a very interesting proposition by the EU to blacklist the United States. I certainly know right now there's a lot of sanctions and tariffs and trade wars going on with the United States and various countries, Canada, China, and others. And I don't know where that's going to lead, but certainly it's not good. I mean, as you know, in 1930, a very protectionist piece of legislation called the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act was largely part of the Great Depression that caused the Great Depression and made it get worse. So I thought the EU proposition was quite bold, and I think that's going to be a major problem. And certainly for Cayman, it might be good in a sense because it might bring the whole thing to a head, and that might be something that will help us. As Mr. Anthony Travers was very, very knowledgeable about these matters, have said that the EU constantly tries to change the goalposts. And but anyway, I'm watching that one with interest. But also this week in the business page as well, on Wednesday, July the 4th, there was an article on page 11. This came on Compass this week, July 4th, page 11. It says, U.S. bill will establish beneficial ownership registry. And I don't know if you read that article, but it's quite interesting. Because as you know, there are some states in the United States, like Delaware in particular, that has, this says, roughly 1.3 million entities registered in that state. Much more than the Cayman Islands, BVI, and the rest of the British Overseas Territories combined, right? Now, the United States Congress is looking at establishing this beneficial ownership registry, similar to what the UK is trying to force on the Cayman Islands. However, there is a significant difference in that what the United States is talking about doing in this article, and I did some additional reading on it as well, but what they are talking about doing basically is what Cayman already has, and not as good as what Cayman already has, because Cayman does have a beneficial ownership platform, and it also has committed to that common reporting standard, and also the beneficial ownership reporting. But it's only as far as the information is available centrally and it's accessible on the proper protocols by law enforcement or other entities that are authorized to access. It's not openly available for every Tom, Dick, and Harry to go on and see who owns everything, which I think is wrong. It's against all the privacy that we talk about. It's against the recently global data protection regulation that the European Union itself has put out. So I think, that article in the Compass this week, July 4th, about the U.S. establishing a beneficial ownership registry. One might read or see the headlines and say, wow, well, they're doing it, so that means Cayman should do it too. The fact is, for you and your listeners' information, and I think Cayman Finance, the Chamber of Commerce, the Ministry of Financial Services, and all those have said this, that once this beneficial ownership platform, public platform, becomes a global standard, the Cayman Islands has no problem with being a part of it, but it's not a global standard. And what the United States is proposing to do for their vast tax havens like Delaware is to have information available centrally but accessible by law enforcement, it is what Cayman has already done. And the difference is, as I said, that Cayman is much more heavily regulated because our monetary authority and other regulators actually physically audit and inspect these entities to ensure that information is correct, and also that all the other compliance and anti-money laundering and other protocols are in place. Whereas I doubt even the great United States is going to be able to do that kind of detailed checking with 1.3 million plus entities. So I just wanted to say for the public knowledge and for discussion that the great United States doing the beneficial ownership registry is good, but Cayman is still leading the world in that. And what the United Kingdom is trying to do with this public registry, which they themselves don't even have, and which they have exempted the Crown dependencies from having, is wrong. And I think Cayman needs to continue to keep focused on fighting this, working with the regulators worldwide as we're doing now. But until this becomes a global standard, then we hold fast to our principles and hold fast to human rights and to data privacy.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks very much, man. Always an informed discussion. Appreciate it. Let's pause and take a final break very quickly. When we come back, more Talk Today.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place for traditional Cayman cuisine. Oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
Enjoy dining by the sea in the relaxed, tranquil atmosphere with local food specials every day and karaoke every Saturday night with Cayman Elvis.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
Accidents can happen at any time and can leave a strain on you and your family. Be prepared with Workman's Compensation Insurance from Fidelity Insurance. Our brokers can help you meet your government requirements and ensure that you are covered should an accident happen. Don't leave it to chance. Email Fidelity Insurance at insure@fidelitycayman.com for a free quote. Get Workman's Compensation from Fidelity Insurance and get some peace of mind. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Do you know that conditions may change suddenly in an emergency and you may have to leave at a moment's notice? When a hurricane threatens, you should have a grab-and-go survival kit. This kit should include your personal identification and other vital documents, which should be sealed in a watertight pouch or container. For more tips and information, visit the Hazard Management Cayman Islands office or caymanprepared.ky. This hurricane tip is brought to you by Hazard Management Cayman Islands and Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
The Cayman Contractors Association would like to urge all contractors to register for the Builders Law by completing the application process. The application is online at www.planning.gov.ky, or the form can be collected from the Planning Department. Do not miss the July 31st deadline and be unable to pull a permit for your job. Ensure your company is licensed, as the public wants to hire licensed contractors. Join the Cayman Contractors Association and stay current on code courses, training, and industry news. The Cayman Contractors Association, building a better Cayman.
Cayman Water Company would like to advise the public of possible traffic delays with the milling and paving of West Bay Road southbound. The roadworks take place between Andy's Rent-A-Car and Coconut Joe's from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. Drivers are asked to proceed with caution and obey all traffic signs.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks so much for listening and joining us as we go to our phones and share with the listeners, as we look at our WhatsApps and read from there or play the voice notes. Hey, any which way that you wish to share with us, you can join our thoughts. 949-8837 or 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp 925-32621. And if the toll-free line works for you, hey, go right ahead. And certainly appreciate you sharing. Now, appreciate the expanding options that our listeners have to share with us. So if you like to, watch and listen, or listen and watch, well, YouTube, you go online and you find us, Radio Cayman streaming live. You like, subscribe, whatever it is you got to do. You know what you do when you do it. And you watch and share with us that way. Certainly appreciate you sending your thoughts in as well. Couple of maybe closing points. This individual put forward this last sentiment in relation to our comments earlier about whether we're enforcing behavior. And the person shares, we talk often about broken windows. Well, is that our problems? No. We're not enforcing, yet we pass more legislation. That goes unenforced. We expect people to comply, but they're either confused or they're contradictory messages. So the information sometimes are not only lacking in detail, but are often too late. Anyway, appreciate that sentiment. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon. I'd like to make a comment on the Compass editorial in today's Friday edition.
Right, yes, please.
Okay, they're talking about it's time for government to take a U-turn away from socialism. This makes me laugh because you can tell that this is written by an expat, right? They come down here because they want sand and sea and sunshine, right? And they get the best jobs. We know that from the word go, right? They don't want to hire Caymanians because they think we have substandard education or whatever. I mean, he says as much here in the article. So what they want us to do with our own people, make them starve. Where this editor come from? He come from United States. I bet you they got a welfare system there. You better believe United States got a welfare system to take care of all of those who can no better do. Yet, from the tone of this editorial, it seems as if he wants us to, just let our own go like that for nothing and give it all to them. That's what this sounds like to me. This is so ridiculous. It don't even bear mention. Every country in the world has some kind of welfare system for those less fortunate. You know, whatever the cause of it may be. Yet he's suggesting, because he don't want to pay. See, he don't want to pay no more tax. You know, those in the big shots that come here making big time money with these companies, they don't want to pay no more tax, you see.
Well, the question is, I mean, if we look at the U.S. and respectfully just read the changes that we're seeing in the society with respect to how the companies have approached their businesses. They're no longer the corporate citizens. They no longer look at their communities. It's always they reward the CEO, you know, once the bottom line is as high, irrespective of how well the workers do or the community suffers. So maybe the approach is always different now. We need to rethink the social good.
I bet you where he come from, he paying his tax.
Well,
in the United States, they got plenty of that.
They say that, you know, in the U.S. they're more afraid of the tax man than they are of the, you know, other authorities. Any final thoughts you want to share with us?
Well, you know, I think that whatever Compass writes, we better take with a grain of salt because they have an agenda.
Well, it's always good to
They have an agenda.
Yeah, to be a discerning consumer, and if you read something, be always, you know, willing to critique it. Hey, thanks very, very much indeed. I hope you have a wonderful, enjoyable, safe weekend.
And you too.
Thank you so much. As we extend our prayer to all of our listeners, I want to invite you to come back Monday morning. Join me, Start Corner, for the record. It's the second Monday of the month according to the calendar, but because Monday gone, the 2nd, was a public holiday, well, for our Talk Today calendar, the first Monday of our schedule is our monthly Mental Health Matters. We want you to be a part of that discussion as we welcome Dr. Alexandra Borden as she ably facilitates that discussion. So that's Monday's production. But between now and then, we have a lot of good programming in here in Radio Cayman. You can close off this aspect of it this afternoon, listening to Miss Susan and maybe WhatsApping her on 925-3261 and making a request. Or you can call her on the request line, 949-6990. And then listen to her incredible on-air talent for a super jam between 3 and 6 and get her hour-long news and then continue on into the evening. You know, so good songs by our good people. Until Monday, be blessed.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.